After starting 13-1, Philly's now lost 2 in a row
Yeah.
and might not get the number 1 seed.
Yep.
Dallas and San Francisco both are within shouting distance now.
Yep.
Each of these 3 teams have somewhat alarming problems with Hurts' health, Dak's turnover problems, and Brock Purdy might eventually lose a game. Who wins the 1 seed, or is a healthy Hurts the only thing that really matters at this point?
All right, so who wins the 1 seed could have a lot to do with what how the Giants view Week 18. So the Giants play the Eagles in Week 18.
Right.
If the Eagles win, they're the 1 seed no matter what. If they lose, a lot of things can happen, right? The Giants are locked in to the 6th spot. Whether they win or lose in Week 18 does not impact their seeding. They are the 6th seed no matter what. And by the way, they feel pretty good about being the 6th seed right now because that looks like that means they're going to be playing the Minnesota Vikings, a team that they showed they can play close just the other day. And the Vikings coming off their worst performance of the year. So the Eagles might be able to hold on for the 1 seed, particularly if the Giants rest everyone that is even questionable with an injury, super conservative in the game. But that doesn't change anything. The Eagles are in huge trouble. I said it earlier in the year. People, the producers of this show and the producers of the TV show, when the Eagles were undefeated, when the Eagles were looking like the best team in the league, saying, Nick, we need to talk more Eagles. And I was like, I'm not sure I believe in them. You got a little cross with me saying, why won't you give the Eagles their respect? I understand their quarterback's hurt. We'll deal with that in a second. This team had some obvious potential issues that could be exploited. One of them is they are the best pass rushing team statistically in league history. But if they don't get to the quarterback, if they don't force the turnovers and force the sacks, their back end can get got. All of a sudden now the injuries are mounting, most notably the right tackle, not just the quarterback, Lane Johnson being out at least for the rest of the regular season and maybe the postseason. And then there is the quarterback injury. And this is where I am not going to give the, there's nothing to do about injuries excuse that a lot of people would give or do give. When you play the style of football that Philadelphia has insisted on playing, where your quarterback is your power running back, where your quarterback is more or just as lethal with his legs as he is with his arms, you are flirting with disaster. And it is not a coincidence that the guys who run the most, Lamar, we haven't seen him in a month. Jalen, we haven't seen him in a couple weeks. Josh Allen, we've seen him, but he's been banged up, keeps being listed on the injury reports, are teams that go into the postseason with injuries at quarterback. And
so with Jalen Hurts there, you'll be scared again.
No, I won't. I think the Philadelphia Eagles, when it looked like they were going to be the 1 seed, I said I thought they were going to be one and done. Now, if they end up falling to the 5 seed, that actually might, because if they lose and Dallas wins, they don't win the division. Then they're in Tampa for the first round. Or if they fall to they could also fall to the 2 or the 3. They could fall to the 2 line as well. If they were to lose and Dallas were to lose and San Francisco were to win. I think they can win, obviously, their first playoff game. If they're the 2 seed, the 7 seed in the NFC, we're talking about Green Bay, Detroit, or Seattle. My point is, this to me is not a Super Bowl caliber team. And one and done, losing in the divisional round or winning the wild card round and then losing the divisional round, I don't believe they're going to see the conference championship game. I think Dallas would beat them if they played again. I am fully confident San Francisco would beat them if they played again, or if they played, pardon me. And I think Tampa, who knocked them out of the playoffs last year, could cause real problems for them. And so there is, Bill Simmons calls it the rabbit team. And we see this repeatedly in the NFL. Last year, who was the rabbit team? The Arizona Cardinals. Started 10-2, looking like the 1 seed. Injuries, holes on the roster caught up to them at the end of the year. They get annihilated in their first playoff game. The year before, who was the Rabbit team? The Pittsburgh Steelers started 11-0. They get knocked out quickly in the postseason. A couple years prior, who was the Rabbit team? Baltimore Ravens. They lose their first playoff game. I don't know why.
I don't think that team's Philly, though.
What do you think is going to happen? Tell me.
I think Jalen Hurts is going to come back and maybe they win 2 games in the playoffs.
Well, win 2 games in the playoffs. If they get the bye, that means they're in the Super Bowl. Listen, Eagles fans don't like me ever since 5 years ago when I said when Wentz went down, they couldn't win the Super Bowl, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. I get it. If I'm Philadelphia, I'm highly concerned right now. Because it's not just, by the way, that, and then we'll move on. I just want to pull up their schedule. It's not just that they've lost these 2 games without Jalen Hurts. It's that you started to see some of the potential ways to exploit them before Jalen went down. They lose to the Commanders. They need a furious comeback to beat the Colts. The touchdown at the end of the game. The Packers, when the Packers weren't playing well, scored 33 on them. Then they annihilated the Titans and the Giants. You give them credit for it. They played the Bears closer than you would like. Then they lose to the Cowboys. Then they lose to the Saints. If you're a Super Bowl team, also, when you have a chance to lock everything up, even with your backup quarterback, I need you to score more than 10 points against the New Orleans Saints. I just do. Sorry. So, yeah, I think the Eagles are in real trouble, and I think that's even if Jalen comes back.
Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show, and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.